I read the Minecraft wiki so you don't have to. As simple as that may sound, it got confusing. There were like 4 different tabs I had to open. Anyway, now that I've done that, I can tell you how to make sweet old iron farms. I'm going to start from the very beginning just to make sure we're all up to speed. You need at least 3 villagers to get an iron golem, or 5 if you don't want to use any hostile mobs. So what actually makes a villager want to spawn an iron golem? There are a few answers to this. Number 1 is the amount of villagers needed. Without mobs, you need at least 5 villagers who have claimed and slept in a bed. But, in order for this to work, the villagers need to be gossiping. 5 is the smallest a village can be to spawn an iron golem unprovoked. You can put more than 5 villagers and iron golems will still spawn. I also just want to quickly mention, all Minecraft considers a village is a bed that's been claimed by a villager. The one flaw in this system is the fact that these villagers can sleep. Not a lot of gossip going on there. So basically what that means is the farm only works when the sun is out. Which I guess is fine if you sleep every night, but in Minecraft, that's not really true for most people. A farm that's a little bit more efficient looks like this one. It only uses 3 villagers, but it scares them. What does this mean? It means the villagers are provoked to spawn an iron golem, meaning you only need 3. However, like the other villagers, they do need to sleep in a bed. That can just look like them sleeping for half a second. It doesn't actually have to be all night, which in turn allows the farm to work all the time. Okay, so now that I've gone over the basics, let's get into some more detail. What happens when a villager makes an attempt? Anytime a spawn attempt is made, it'll go off the basis of 1 villager. Specifically, the bottom half of a villager. So let's pretend we've got that right here. As you can see in the andesite, I've marked out the areas where a villager can spawn an iron golem. That's 6 blocks above their bottom half, 6 blocks below their bottom half, 7 blocks in the negative X and Z directions, and 8 blocks in the positive X and Z directions. In diorite, I've marked out where the villagers will look to see if there's already an iron golem. If they've already got one in this range, they're not going to bother spawning another one. They check 16 blocks in all horizontal directions, 16 blocks below the bottom half of the villager, and 15 blocks above. The way the attempt works is like guess and check. The villagers will pick a block, check that entire column to see if they can spawn a golem, and then if they can't, they'll move on. They'll do the same thing by checking a column of a different block, and if it doesn't work again, they'll repeat the process. Villagers check a total of 10 blocks before the attempt is given up. When villagers are first scared, an attempt happens almost immediately. But for every attempt after that, there's about a 600 tick cooldown. I would say that's roughly 20 to 30 seconds. If you want to speed up that amount of time, you could always change your random tick speed, but that's kind of cheaty. Iron golems need non-transparent blocks to spawn on, like this piece of andesite, or stone. They can also spawn on water, but that water can only be a block tall. However, if you put water on a transparent block, the iron golem will be able to spawn. Other than that, they spawn like any other mob, needing about a 3x3x3 area. This one looks like it got stuck in a block, so it might be smart to go bigger than that. Anyway, we've been talking a lot about spawning iron golems, but it's spooky time. Let's talk about how to scare villagers. Different mobs scare villagers from different distances. Zombies, husks, drowns, and vexes scare villagers from 8 blocks. Zoglins and vindicators scare villagers from 10 blocks. Ravengers and evokers scare villagers from 12 blocks. Pillagers scare villagers from 15 blocks. Now if you wanted to apply this into your own farm, you could have one mob scaring 2 different villages. Maybe even 3. Or 4. Alright, enough about that. Let's talk about what you have to do after the iron golem is spawned. There's a couple different things you can do. You can kill them right there with lava, or you can take them out of the villager's range using a nether portal or dropping them somewhere. Overall, the most efficient farms get rid of the iron golems the fastest. The most common ways to kill them are lava, magma, wither roses, what you would see in most other farms. But you could even go as far to use skeletons, pillagers, even ravengers. I've seen it done. You can get pretty creative with this kind of stuff. I should, however, mention iron golems can't drown or take fall damage. Sorry if that destroys your creative vibe. Get it? Because, destroying iron golems? Yeah, not my best. Now before I go, there are still a couple things I want to mention. If you decide to keep your villagers in a super dark place, don't. They will turn into witches, which is super surprising, but I've had it happen before. Witches, it's another one. Okay, I really am going to stop now. If you're building your farm underground, make sure you've spawn-proofed all of the spaces a villager can spawn an iron golem. Caves can sneak in there. It's also super annoying. If you're scaring your villagers, make sure they're not constantly scared. Don't put the mob and leave it right next to the villagers. While they do need constant eyesight, they also need to sleep every night. You should be fine if your mob's moving constantly, or if you have it in like a composter a little bit at an awkward position. I would recommend checking out other people's designs for composter and cauldron fixes. Or you could do something like this. The observer sees when the daylight sensor turns to night, sends out a redstone output. That output has a pulse extender attached to it. It gives enough time for the villagers to have blocked eyesight from the mob so they can sleep. It would work something like this. And lastly, if you're going to build an iron farm, make sure you have a good storage system and you have easy access to it. That way, it's working all the time and you can fix it if anything goes wrong. That's going to do it for me today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And if you liked the video, make sure you hit like and subscribe.